Well, after the last two matches in which Halifax have lost by 4 to Doncaster, by 2 to Leigh, Halifax obviously heading in the right direction, but against the toughest of oppositions this afternoon, with unbeaten Hull Kingston Rovers visiting the Shea. 2 matches already between these sides this season, and a week was a long time in rugby league. After a record 88-6 defeat, Halifax went back to Hull KR a week later, lost by 8 points, and they're looking to puncture the Robins balloon this afternoon. The return of Damien Gibson at full back is a blessing to offset the loss of MacDonald and Hobson for Martin Hall. He thinks that the Robins can be beaten, and it's to be hoped the rest of his teammates are of the same mind. Gibson at full-back, James Haley, Andy Kirk, Anthony Blackwood and Marcus George are 3/4. Joel Pennant, Dean Lawford at half-backs. There have been changes up front where John Clough starts in the middle of the front row with John Simpson and Jason Bolts as props. Adam Hayes, Andy Spink, who scored a hat-trick last week at Leigh, Damien Ball at loose forward, Dominic Brambani, who sparked that late revival, on the bench with Joe Hurst, David Wrench and Byron Smith. Hull Kingston Rovers, who play Leigh in the Northern Rails Cup final at Blackpool next week. Familiar looking side: Ben Cockayne at full back, Leroy Rivette, Damien Couturier, John Goddard and Byron Ford at the 3/4. Scott Morrell and James Webster the half backs. Macaulay Azu, Ben Fisher, David Tangata-Toa in a powerful front row. Ian Morrison, Gareth Morton and Tom Gallagher the back three of the pack. Andy Ellis, John Fallon, Dwayne Barker, Francis Stevenson on the bench. And Hull KR spill the ball up midway through their first set of 6, and Halifax will get a first penalty after Gareth Morton being pushed away, but it was either him or Macaulay Azu who was too high in the tackle, and Dean Lawford has opted for the early shot at goal, hands the ball to James Haley, looking to add to his 14 goals for the season. Further good news for Martin Hall is that David Larder is ready for a return. Been out for several weeks with ankle problems, which seems to be clearing up after surgery. Damien Gibson's last match was at Hull Kingston Rovers in that 30-22 defeat, where he broke his hand for the second time. And James Haley gives Halifax a perfect start. From that Robins indiscretion, and Halifax lead. Hull Kingston Rovers 2 points to 0. First time near the Rovers line, they come away with the points. And against Hull Kingston Rovers, it doesn't matter how you get them, but you certainly need them. And it's 2 points early on for Halifax. Scott Morrell skies that one. Lawford underneath it, gives it to Simpson, who's immediately hammered to the ground by Tangata-Toa and Azu, and he felt the impact of that as Simpson. It was a big hit, and the big prop having trouble getting to his feet and playing the ball. It looks a little bit shaky. The referee has stopped the clock just to make sure that Simpson recovers. Halifax already without MacDonald and Hobson. Birchall on loan at Featherstone, so they can ill afford to lose Simpson. But with Byron Smith and Joe Hurst have been included today on the back of the performance in the under-21s against Leigh last week. Magnificent win for the under-21s at Hilton Park. And Spink had a tremendous match last week with 3 tries, but he's caught by 3, gets up and plays the ball quickly. Clough gets it to Pennant, and Pennant has got the ball between winger and full-back. And Byron Ford doesn't make too much progress with the ball. Ben Cockayne, live wire from acting half, runs the ball out for the forwards. Halifax alerting the tackle. Bolts and Simpson back in action, and Halifax caught from acting half. They've worked on it this week, and there's problems here. George and Haley chasing forward, and they managed to bring him down a metre short of the line, but Halifax still retreating, and they will get caught at acting half again. Well, that's where they needed tidying up, said Martin Hall this week, and they were caught first with Ben Cockayne and Ben Fisher. Fisher having support. George and Haley doing enough to bring the winger down, but not enough numbers back for Halifax in defence. And Rovers over for the first try. An instant response to that early penalty from Halifax. And Tommy Gallagher taking advantage of Halifax's troubles as they tried to retreat. Going under the post for the first try of the afternoon. And the loose forward has given Couturier, well it's not, it's Morton that's taking over the kicking duties. But the result is still the same as Morton converts Gallagher's try. Halifax caught totally flat-footed at acting half. Two play the balls are both effective with Cockayne making metres, and then Fisher scooting up the middle of the field. So Lawford with the long kick again. There's a strong swirling breeze blowing around the shade this afternoon as Macaulay was forced towards the touchline. James Haley misses the tackle. The reinforcements in defence, 3 tacklers. That looks like Cockayne again, helping out the forwards, always willing to run the ball up, and Halifax could be caught again here. That one looked forward as it went out to Rivette. Rivette gets inside to Webster. And the Rovers have gone from one end of the field to the other, but there was a questionable forward pass right under the gantry to Rivette. Well, it's going to be a long day for Halifax if they continue to defend like this. Damien Ball is trying to pull the troops together at the side of the post, but Webster, 2 tries in 2 minutes for the Robins, and it's under the post, so Morton will almost certainly turn it into 12. Well, this wasn't in the plan for Martin Hall this afternoon. And Halifax immediately on the back foot. 6 minutes gone, 12 points to 0 down if Morton is successful with his kick. Well, Halifax scored with the first touch of the ball, and Rovers have made them pay for having the audacity to take the lead. So the Fact supporters in stunned silence as Lawford kicks off again. Rivette right on the touchline, runs the ball back over the 10 metre line. Halifax with an absolute mountain of work to do as early as the 6th minute, and Rovers taking full advantage of Halifax's inability to stop the ball round the ruck and some poor tackling, and they get a penalty which Webster hoops down the touchline and makes big yards from a narrow angle. Fisher to Morrison. Morrison puts the ball down. Not happy with the referee's decision, but there is the occasional flurry of rain, so that'll make the ball greasy. Well, Halifax have dropped Spink out to loose forward. He drives the ball up into the tackle of Morrell and Morton, and this time it's Adam Hayes that makes a mistake. So the ball obviously getting greasy with the rain that's intermittently coming down. So immediate possession surrendered, and Rovers begin their attack on the halfway line. Morrison comes back on the inside off the pass from Morrell and makes meters. Penny finally drags him down. Gallagher driving it forward. The former Leeds man spent time under Justin Morgan in France. Halifax give away another penalty. Well, there were lots of complaints about the way Halifax tried to win the second match at Craven Park in April by trying to slow the ball down, and Justin Morgan complained for weeks afterwards about it, and he expected the same today, but Halifax being watched closely by the referee and immediately put back on the back foot as Tanga Tatoa goes through. Good tackle by Hayes, 5 metres out. There's a tussle at Acton half, but it's Fisher that gets it away to Morton, and Morton's brought down 3 metres away. Rovers have men queuing up at this side of the field, but the kick through forces Damien Gibson into desperate action, and his opposite number Ben Cockayne adjusts to being offside, and I think Gibson might have just got the ball before the fullback got there, but it's irrelevant as Halifax get the first penalty and manage to hold up under some real pressure from Rovers, and Adam Hayes running into a brick wall of a defence on that far side. Damien Ball running into the same defenders on the 40-metre line. Now Simpson driving the ball up, immediately attracts Azew and Morton to him. Lawford ducks under one, can't get away from Morrell. Wrestled to the ground, and Morrell's all over him. He should have had a penalty, and Lawford's not happy. Well, they've just been penalised for slowing the game down of Halifax. Morrell knew what he was doing because his teammate pulled him off. Rivette's taking the ball behind his own line. It'll come back for the tap on the 20. Probably just a yard too far, that kick from Dean Lawford, as Joel Penny goes in to make the tackle on Gallagher. Tanga Tatoa into Simpson and Bolts. Fisher again looking to exploit that gap at Acton half. Simpson wraps up man and ball. Here comes Cockayne again, the fullback. Bolts tackling him. Webster throws it round the back. Morton gets it out, a line ball to Couturier, and will not need the support. It's John Goddard, not Couturier, former Oldham player. And Goddard runs riot down that far side. He didn't need the support of Byron Ford, and a third try for the Robins from John Goddard. And another one under the post for Morton. Martin Hall looking to make an early change. David Wrench, who's been warming up since as early as the first set, fifth or sixth minute up and down the touch line. Oh, wasn't under the post, I thought, from where Morton was stood, but he's now gone out to where Goddard was. And it doesn't matter how hard the kicks are for Morton. The tries look so easy for Hull Kingston Rovers. Goddard down that far side, unchallenged. As he strode away, James Haley sticking with a winger. No centre on the inside to challenge Goddard as he went from more or less the halfway line. And no problem for Morton, who makes it 18-0 on around 13 minutes. 18-2 on 13 minutes. Well, 18 or 16 points, Halifax look as though they're going to struggle to get near the try line, let alone score. Lawford hoists it high again, Webster underneath it inside two, Tanga to Tower. Anthony Blackwood making the connection high up, but not causing any damage as Penny steals the ball, and the touchwood said it's a 2-on-1. Well, I'd question that one and I look at a replay, because the way Penny came out with the ball suggested that he was the only one that actually knew where the ball was, and the touchwood's giving Rovers the benefit of the doubt. And a third penalty as Morrison's tackled 5 metres from halfway. Macaulay drives forward. Good solid defence from Damien Ball and Adam Hayes. Tanga to Tower looking to do the same, but Wrench going round the leg. Rovers support suggesting Lawford was a little bit high as the kick's put down that touchline. Gibson is going to be under pressure as he waits for the ball to go dead, and it won't run. And such was the pressure behind him from 3 Rovers defenders, it meant the ball was put behind the line by Gibson, and the result is more possession for Hull Kingston Rovers. Drop out reaches halfway. Tanga to Tower takes an ace to pick it up as he waits for it to stop, and Halifax have put on a good chase there to take the prop down just before halfway. Macaulay is slowed down by Lawford and finished off by Kirk. Morton, good tackling from the captain Damien Ball as you will run the ball up again. Andy Kirk and David Wrench, I think it is, combining to put him down. Webster's seen a bit of a gap and he's handed off two and was almost through. Good tackling from Clough. There's a kick over the top which is a tester for Marcus George, but it's come off the shoulder of Rivette and gone over the touching goal. It'll come back for the tap on the 20. Haley in off the wing, but the ball goes out to Adam Hayes. He gets it to Kirk. There's no room for Andy Kirk on that far side as the Rovers defenders pushing back the 2 metres he'd made when he got the pass. Byron Smith on for Jason Bolts. And Fisher quick to mark Damien Ball. Gibson running the ball up, helping out the forwards. David Wrench charging forward. Head went back then. He's got up and played the ball quickly. John Clough will go from acting half into Ben Fisher, who may not have been back the full 10 then. I don't think they were stood square either. So Lawford's forced into the kick again. And Lawford and Morrison are having a throw at each other in the middle of the field. I'm not sure what happened. I was watching the ball, but Lawford was actually still throwing punches as Morton tried to pull him away from Morrison. Byron Smith was involved as well. Well, a suggestion maybe there that Lawford might have been taken out after the kick had gone away. Well, it'll be on the touch judge's report. But, I think there's a hint of frustration there because the penalties seem to be going in favour of Ulkayar at the moment. There's a few decisions that Halifax are questioning, and the supporters as well are also asking questions of the referee. I think in that last play, Fisher and the other marker were definitely stood side by side. The referee reached for his pocket and he's going to dispense with Lawford and Morrison for 10 minutes. Well, Halifax will lose a key playmaker. How will that affect him? And Rovers have the penalty, so maybe it was retaliation from Dean Lawford, but once again it's gone in the Robins' favour, and it's 12 aside for the next 10 minutes. Fisher to Tanga Tatoa, who's put down 19 metres away, and it looks like Fisher's still. Well, Tanga Tatoa's won himself a penalty. Well, Tanga Tatoa has won the penalty and is leaving the field to be replaced by Francis Stevenson. And Rovers opting for the power play, snubbing the 2 points. They lead by 18 points to 2. And that lead could be built on here, but Morton is brought down 5 metres away. Fisher waits at acting half, comes back to the inside. Webster shows the ball, goes for the gap. Halifax slam the door shut. But for how long? Fisher to Morrell, who loses his footing. Well, the pitch has been relayed. That's the reason why Halifax haven't had a home game for several weeks, but it's cutting up with little or no rain on it as Morton's brought down. It's the last tackle. Webster will slide the kick across the defensive line, and Leroy Rivette will be caught and slowed down by Marcus George, but he'll have time to get the ball away to Tommy Gallagher despite the attentions of Joel Penny, and Gallagher will go in for his second and Rovers' fourth try. And once again, Halifax unable to cope with a side that can get the ball out of the tackle. Marcus George had slowed Rivette down. Penny came in to help, but by then George has fallen off the tackle, and it was easy for Rivette to get the ball away to Gallagher on the last tackle. And Gallagher gives Morton another chance of 2 points from about 17 metres to the right hand side of the uprights. The red and white army of support away to the right hand side, are more than happy with what they're seeing. But I think Tanga Tatoa was quite fortunate there in the way he old man the referee, throwing himself on the ground. Well, Morgan expected a tough game at the Shea this afternoon. That's not how it's shaping up at the moment. Just over midway through the first half, Halifax trail by 20 points. Morton unable to convert the fourth try. Haley will kick off towards what looks like a very low attendance on that left hand side in the south stand. Penny flattens Webster after the ball has gone, but the referee from 20 yards away seen a forward pass, or was it the touch judge that gave him assistance? Well, Rovers have given Halifax an assistance for they're only the second penalty. Webster's trying to claim somebody knocked it on. Well, if that's the case, it was one of his players. Penny puts the ball into touch. Halifax looking for the first try of the afternoon. Clough to Penny. Penny to Byron Smith. And Byron Smith clattered by 3 under the post. Clough to Wrench. And David Wrench close to the line. Just can't shrug off the defenders as they try to drag him back. But he's got the ball away to Clough. Clough's gone over. Referee's whistle has gone. He's gone for the scrum. And he's given Halifax a put down. Well, what's wrong with the advantage? Well, David Wrench had 3 defenders round him. They were ragging him all over the place. He put the ball out to Clough. Clough went under the post, and the referee saw something that nobody else in this ground saw, and has chosen to pull Halifax back and give him the scrum from which Penny has lost the ball. Halifax should have had 4. They've come away empty-handed, and now they've been penalised as well by the referee for offside. But I suggest there was a comment made as well there to Jamie Leahy, and that's why Halifax are back defending on the halfway line. The Rovers making a change, taking off Macaulay Azu and bringing on John Fallon. And immediately Cockayne causing problems, and Halifax are going to struggle to defend this down that far side. Morrell gets it away. Goddard in for a second. And from being under the post at the other end of the field, John Clough has got a perfect legal 4-pointer by the look of it. Referee failing to play advantage. Halifax penalised, and at the other end of the field, Goddard goes in for his second, and a dejected bunch of players by the side of the uprights. Well, Adam Hayes will leave the field to be replaced by Joe Hurst. Well, Halifax supporters, despite the trouble that their side are having on the field, are still calling for the referee. It looked like a perfectly good try from here, but Rovers leading the penalty count 6 points to 2. 6-2. Morton failing with his second attempt, 5 tries and 3 goals, 26 points to 2. Just approaching the half-hour mark. Still 12 men on either side. Lawford and Morrison coming to the end of their 10 minutes in the sin bin. And Haley hoisting the ball high again, and it goes into touch. It's left by Byron Ford, and he knows he's made a mistake. Well, the last time Halifax were anywhere near this position prior to Goddard's try, Penny coughed the ball up, and Halifax gave away the penalty. And Penny feeds the scrum, gets it to Damien Ball. Ball escapes the clutches of Goddard, but the reinforcements quickly there. gets up and plays the ball quickly. Gibson to Hurst. Hurst stopped by 2, and Halifax get a penalty. Without the help of the crowd. Penny to Byron Smith. Smith clattered 2 metres away, trying to get up and play it quickly. John Clough pushes away from one and then another, gets it to Penny. Halifax, have they got enough men out wide? Was Blackwood, shrugs away one, tries to go inside and then falls to a 3-man tackle, still 2 metres away from the line. Gibson out to Marcus George, trying to exploit this short side, but George is forced down, facing his own post. Gibson in at acting half again, gets it away to Penny. Penny out to Renge. Renge struggling, but managing somehow to keep hold of the ball. Under pressure, looking for a penalty off Morrell. Penny juggles with it, gets it, slips it through the hands. Kirk picks it up to try and restore the momentum for Halifax, but it's the 5th tackle, and Halifax are further away from when they started, but both teams back now to 13 men. Penny tries his luck again with a kick. The pressure's on from Rivette, but Marcus George just unable to pull the ball in. So Halifax with an opportunity, the best one they've had so far of the game, managing to keep the ball for 6 tackles. Blackwood and George both rising above the opposition there, but just unable to take the ball in. That's a big hit from Andy Spink on Morrison, stopped him in his tracks. Smith finished him off. Stevenson dragged down 8 metres from halfway. Webster looking to exploit that side again. There's runners there, and Lawford, the man that comes up with it, as Morrell complains to the referee about being shoved out of the way, I think. Andy Kirk takes the ball up from acting half. Hurst driving the ball forward up to the 40-metre line. Lawford to Penny. Halifax putting the move on Gibson. Short ball to Blackwood, perhaps a little bit too early, but the pressure was on from Couturier, the Frenchman. Penny to Smith. The rain showers have become a bit more prolonged. Last tackle, back to Penny. Penny shows the ball, then tries to play full back and winger. Cocaine will pick it up. Halifax, do they have enough pressure to push the full back over the line? He goes down, balls come out of the grasp of the full back, and Wilkinson Rovers are not happy. Well, there's a fiery temper as Cocaine. You take the ball, you take the punishment, and in an effort to prevent himself being pushed back over the line, Cocaine obviously lost the ball under slippery conditions, and Halifax will get the scrum and potentially 6 more tackles if they keep the possession to attack this Rovers line, still looking for the first try of the afternoon. Lawford feeds a scrum, then gets it away to Penny. Penny's looking for runners, gets it to Blackwood. Blackwood steps inside, then goes back to the outside, but the sliding defence moves in to bring the centre down. Andy Spink to Byron Smith. Good tackling. Byron Smith was on full speed ahead there. Lawford look for the drop of the shoulder, gives it to Hurst, and Hurst stopped by 2 and then slowed down. An ironic cheers from the Halifax supporters as Rovers tried to slow the play down. Byron Smith gets a hospital pass from Clough and gets clattered by 3, and there's somebody else being penalised for the head-high tackle. Halifax will go for broke again. Lawford to Damien Ball. Clough to Lawford. Halifax not making any ground. Spink off the flat pass. Finally does make some metres forward. Clough feeds Penny. Penny turns it back inside. That looked close to a high tackle. Lawford has Damien Ball running back on the inside, but Halifax struggling to break down a watertight Rovers defence so far. Clough goes from acting half, gets it back to Lawford, but Lawford immediately caught by Ben Fisher. Last tackle, Clough to Gibson. Gibson a chip through, and that might benefit Halifax. Ball running loose, and Clough will get to the ball. It needed a touch of luck as it came off a Hulkinson Rovers player, and Clough was the first to react. He still had to touch it down. It was bouncing awkwardly, could have gone anywhere, but the hooker got to it for Halifax's first points, just approaching the 35-minute mark. Well, they've had a couple of opportunities. He's been denied once as John Clough, but not on that occasion. Gibson's kick having the desired effect, causing chaos. He did have a touch of luck as it bounced off a Rovers defender, and John Clough scores a try on his home debut on loan from Salford. James Haley will convert it and turn it into 6.
Successful conversion for Halifax, sponsored by John Blackburn's Direct Mail, number 2, James Haley.
So some 34 minutes for Halifax to score the first try. But they've had a little bit of pressure thanks to Cookaine's mistake at the back, allowing them the second set of 6. And it's now Hulkinson Rovers 26, Halifax 8, as Lawford feeds Wrench off a very, very high kick-off. Haley will try and do the work of his forwards. Marcus George. Not sure, I think that's only the first time he's run with ball in hand this afternoon. Hurst. The drive through a 3-man tackle. Halifax making yards, but it's very slowly as Lawford gets it away to Penny. Penny gives it to Kirk. Kirk has a bit of room, forced to the touchline. Spink brings it back inside and gets himself towards halfway. Still trying to pump the legs despite the attention of 3 defenders. Last tackle. Penny will have to be quick. Lawford will have to be quick to get the kick away. Manages to do so, but there's just too much behind that one as it runs touching goal. Comes back for the tap on the 20. Fisher to Dwayne Barker, who's just been introduced by Justin Morgan. Quickly tackled on the 20. Halifax need more tackles like that. They've made another one. Rovers only making 2 metres. Wrench in very quickly. Here comes a full-back again, Cookane. But there's very quick play the balls from the Robins as Morrison is put through a gap that was quickly closed by Clough and Smith. Kick from Morrell. Well, Haley won't wait. He'll have to pick this one up and run it back. And he's lost possession, but it has gone backwards. Kirk will salvage possession close to the line. Gibson invited to try and make some metres away from his own line, but he's under all sorts of pressure, but won't be pushed back over the try line. Clough gives it to Penny, and Penny gets away, squeezes through the tackle or 2. The chasers are on, Rivette's after him. Cookane has made the tackle, but that's a great run from pressure relieving run from Joe Penny. Byron Smith running onto the short ball from Clough, and Halifax further away from the line than they could have imagined after the ball squeezed out of Haley's tackle. Lawford turns it back inside to Gibson, ball gone to ground. Well, they do all the good work and then make a simple mistake as the ball squeezed out. So a couple of minutes remain in this first half. Morrison has dropped out to stand off. Webster gives it to the full-back Cookane, chinking into the line again. His run quickly ended by Goddard and Gibson. Halifax without a full-back as Gibson tries to help out in the defensive line, and the referee has once again penalised Halifax for not standing square. 7-5 the penalty count in the Robins' favours, and this time Couturier opts for the 2 points. Does this mean that Hull Kingston Rovers are finally showing Halifax a bit of respect? Certainly tightened up the defence a little bit and hit back with a try of their own. But Jamie Lee has certainly made a few controversial decisions. And this one may cost Halifax another 2 points as Couturier is reinstalled as the kicker and misses the conversion. And well, there was one at Craven Park in that record defeat that he thought had gone over, which would have given him a record, and he looked then at the officials to ask what was wrong with that. It was obviously outside the post, although he didn't seem to think so. Byron Smith, the first man up there, forcing the run inside from Stevenson. Tacklers were waiting. Fisher to Morrell, almost through the gap there. Good tackle from David Wrench, stopping the standoff as Fallon drives the ball up. Rovers 22 metres away, leading 26 points to 8 as Webster shows the ball again. Morrison took the hit, it's the last tackle. Halifax trying to slow it down. Morrell will kick towards the corner, and that awkward for Haley, but I think he'll give Rovers, well, he won't give possession because it was the last tackle. So Halifax line stays intact for now as Haley tries to run it away, but as always it's just a wall of red and white shirts waiting to halt Halifax's progress. Same again as Gibson's tackle by Fallon and Morrell. Damien Ball firing onto that one, losing possession. Well, it was a big hit from which Halifax captain is slow to get, was Joe Hurst is slow to get to his feet. It's not Damien Ball. So the 40 minutes almost up. And Morrison is again out to the standoff position, watched by Spink and Smith. Fisher gives it to Webster. Webster seeing there's no full-back at home, and Ben Cockayne may be the first man to it, but Andy Spink gets his boot to the ball. Well, the referee's got it wrong again, because surely Andy Spink knocked that dead as he went in with his foot, but he's given Halifax the benefit of the doubt, and Joel Pennant will run the ball back on his own because he's not a man within 10 metres of him. Clough to Smith, and Smith managed to avoid the onrush of the two defenders as Hulk are obviously frustrated by that decision by Lee here as Lawford hoofs the ball upfield. Gibson is the chaser. Byron Ford's under pressure and Gibson just can't get to him. David Wrench can't get to him. Byron Ford has eventually run out of room, stopped by Blackwood and Smith on the 10 metre line. Leroy Rivette was shepherded a bit there by Webster, I think. Webster moving out to the outside. Halifax trying to stick to the defensive task till the end of the first half, which is rapidly approaching. Dwayne Barker stopped by 3. Fisher from acting half, looking to cause problems. Well watched by Clough this time. Webster going for the 40-20. Marcus George will watch the ball go over the goal line. They'll come back to the 20, but there's no time for any more action in this first half. Halifax opened the scoring with Haley's penalty the opening couple of minutes, and then it was one-way traffic as Gallagher helped himself to 2 tries. So did John Goddard. A try from Webster, simple try. Only 3 conversions. A missed penalty from Couturier, which will look to question the decisions of the official. Halifax have held out. They've scored a try from Clough. His first attempt was wiped out, but they hit back on the second set of 6 for the first try. Haley converted at half time at the Shea. Halifax 8, Ulkingston Rovers 26.